Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name's Chris Hallam. I'm the product manager for Windows Client Security. I focus particularly on the prevention side of the house that's part of ATP. My peer, Heike Ritter, also is product manager like myself. She focuses on the post-breach side of the story, some of the management pieces as well. So together we're going to tag team this presentation, and we're going to tell you a story about what this product is from end to end. We're going to bring you from the very beginning with attack surface reduction, and we're going to go all the way to the end where we're focusing on security management, which is new to the suite. Audience-wise, this is designed for people who maybe don't know a lot about ATP. So this is an overview session, kind of indexed around the 200 level. There's some things we'll go down a little deeper in, but I think we're going to hover right in that 200 level. For those of you who know ATP already, maybe you're already using it, we're going to highlight for you the things that are new, in particular in the last release, but maybe even more so in the release that's just about to ship. So it's going to serve those two audiences, those that are new and those who are experienced and need to know what's new. Agenda-wise, we're going to talk about the threat landscape for a minute. I think you've heard a lot of this week. I don't think I need to tell you how important security is. We'll talk a little bit about our strategy. Then we'll get into the meat, which is the overview. We'll cover new updates. And then we're going to talk about something that's really interesting, which is the power of the Microsoft Threat Protection Stack, which is when you use something like Windows Defender ATP and Azure ATP and CASB and some of these other great products. Together, you get experiences that you probably can't find in other products in the marketplace. So with that said, let's talk briefly about the threat landscape. So as you know, the actors are bad, and they're increasingly getting more sophisticated. The challenge you face is that your digital estate has never been more porous. You don't have a perimeter that you're used to. And for those of you who are using on-prem solutions, as opposed to solutions that are built completely indexed on the cloud for that type of perimeterless world, you face an interesting challenge. And for you, it's time to start thinking about what's the next solution. How do we get to the cloud with a security solution, whether that's ours or someone else's, that can help you deal with that perimeterless world that you're dealing with. The other thing that's a challenge as well is the industry has tremendous amount of information coming in, and those who know how to harness that data and correlate that and bring that to meaningful intelligence can offer you a significant advantage. And if we look at the industry, there are those who are doing it very well, and there are some that are in the middle and some that not so well. And so we're kind of in our infancy, I believe, in being able to take advantage of trillions of signals and really put that together in a way that can deliver meaningful and highly impactful security benefits and change for you. So with that said, as I mentioned, you've got a perimeterless world that you're facing, and you're not just worried about devices, which is what we're really going to focus on in this session. You focus as security experts on all sorts of entities. Maybe it's identity and apps and infrastructure, et cetera. And to deal with this complex world, you're almost certainly using many, many, many different controls from many vendors. And as you see there's lots of vendors and lots of controls out there. And you typically stitch these together using seams for integration and a bunch of things. And this is kind of a cobbled together set of solutions. And what we're offering at Microsoft is a means to consolidate those solutions and bring the solutions that we offer together under one holistic umbrella. So it's going to feel increasingly like you're using a single security solution rather than a patchwork. And so that's what our goal is to help you reduce the complexity and at the same time deliver you superior security. Now when it comes to the strategy for this, Microsoft has been in the business of security, or at least we've been talking about it for well over a decade. Who here remembers Forefront? Okay, almost everybody. So some of you have been in the industry for some time. Forefront was a great attempt at its time for us to enter in and become a security vendor. But what happened to Forefront? Well, we didn't invest in it, partially because the timing was right. We were in a different relationship with the security ecosystem. Our partnership model was one of, let's outsource security. Windows 7 should be secured by others. We're going to let McAfee's and Symantec and others at the time deal with that. And we also had this Forefront product that was maybe going to emerge into something, and then it fizzled away because we didn't have the mentality, and I don't think we actually had the need at that moment to invest deeply in that. So we just wanted to be part of this thing. But our strategy had to change, and the reality is as we moved into the Windows 8 era, we became acutely aware that the solutions out there in the marketplace, not only are they complex and plentiful in terms of vendors, not only are they incredibly complex, they're also not delivering on the promises that you need. You need security that's way better than where you were at years ago, and the industry wasn't able to deliver on that. Now, there's a couple reasons. Part of the reason is we need to deliver that security inside the platform itself to give you the best end result. And that's a unique advantage that Microsoft has. We can build things into the platform. We can build the platform around the security needs. A third party building on top of the platform and bolting itself on has a disadvantage. Now, they can do great work as well, but of course, when they do some of that work and install kernel mode drivers into the system, what types of things do we see? We see increased blue screens. We see difficulty moving from one version of Windows to the next, et cetera. So we now know, and we realize we have to get involved in this in a meaningful way. And so we now consider ourselves an equal participant in this ecosystem, whereas before it was really an outsourcing model. So to get there, we have to do more than just talk, right? We talked during the forefront phase, but we're not talking anymore. We're putting our money where our mouth is, and we've invested $1 billion in this problem, not just this year or not holistically. This is what we're doing every year, and this is in maybe the second or third year of doing that. So this is a huge investment. And I've been at Microsoft for actually technically over 20 years. I've had my 20th year anniversary recently, but I've worked there for longer. And I've never seen this type of investment applied to something so quickly, except in two instances. Number one was the Netscape situation. We all remember that. That's where everything changed at Microsoft. We thought we might lose the platform to this new thing that I don't think we even understood in that moment. The next change was when Linux came on the scene, and we worried about our client. Right? We were worried that the client might actually get taken over by a competing operating system. With security, we feel we're in that same moment. That's why you see this level of investment. We've never been more serious in my time on a problem set like we are today. And so it's delivering great results. And one of the things that we do to take advantage of this moment and this investment is we're capturing a lot of great information through the participation of many of you in our telemetry programs and through other sources. And we have a great set of optics into what's happening. And this data gets brought into the intelligent security graph, and we're able to reason over that with machine learning and all the great technologies and data science and come up with some pretty interesting things. Right? We're able to detect 5 billion threats a month. Right? That's malware. Right? That's huge volume malware. Right? And our optics give us the ability to do that. We have amazing amounts of email that we're scanning, and so we have all this data. And if you look at our competition, they don't have that data set to reason over. And at the end of the day, security is a big data problem, right? We've got the data set, we got $1 billion to apply to it, and we're super motivated to take advantage of it. So we are in this great position with the data and the graph and the analytics behind it. And so this is really our secret sauce, and this is why we've moved so quickly, I think, from a person talking about security to a person who's actually delivering security and now capturing share. Now, when it comes to the approach, many of you know we have a bunch of ATP products. We have CASB. We've got this and that. There's a lot of different products out there. And what you're seeing with this announcement we made earlier this week is you're seeing the unification of these under the Microsoft Threat Protection Platform. Right? We are bringing these things together, and maybe some of you have seen the experiences where the lines between these different products are quickly blurring away. The products are becoming the background, and the foreground is the entities that you care about. Because what do you care about? You don't care about Windows Defender ATP, really. You need it, but you care about what it does. You care about the devices, right? When it comes to email, you care about the data or the information. We care about the apps we're using and the infrastructure and the endpoints. And so as many of you have already seen, you'll see more here, is with Microsoft Threat Protection, it's not about products anymore or brands. It's about entities, and we put those in the foreground and give you an experience that brings them all together, right? What you may be used to is a product that just does really well with devices over here. And then you got another product for email. And there's really no communication between these systems. And maybe there's no interoperability between the systems or separate islands. With Microsoft Threat Protection, we bring this all together, as you will see. So let's drill down the endpoint, right? That's what Windows Defender ATP is about. It's about giving you device-level security with the sensors that we have in the box. And Windows Defender ATP is the main workload. There's other things at Microsoft, but this is the big beast that does most of the work. Now, some of you are thinking, okay, Windows Defender ATP, that doesn't sound like my cross-platform solution. Windows Defender ATP, maybe not the best name, but the reality is this product will manage your heterogeneous environments. This is not just for Windows problems, this is for everything. The beauty of it, it's built in to Windows. There's nothing to deploy. You already have that when you're using Windows 10. It's powered by the cloud, which is the only way you can deal with this perimeterless world. And it's something that IT can trust, and we think our security teams will love. And you'll see some experiences, I think, that will be unique, particularly when it comes to some of the post-breach stuff that we're doing. So let's drill in. Now, the journey of ATP has been a long one. right? I mentioned earlier that with Windows 8, we started to kind of get that we needed to change our ways, that we need to become a security vendor, but that doesn't happen overnight. You need money, you need time, and you got to deliver a product. But what we did with Windows 8 and through the beginning, the first 2 releases of 10, is we started delivering a bunch of new components. If you followed the story, you've seen lots of little pieces coming out. Those pieces were separate pieces that worked independently, and the reality was what most of you would have done is you might use what at the time was Device Guard, which is now rebranded, or you may use Credential Guard with McAfee or some other product. That was not the strategy, but that was the delivery at that time. So you may use some of these widgets, these pieces, because they were individual. But then we started getting focused on bringing these things together. And with right before the fall with the Creators Update, we delivered our first platform solution for endpoint detection response. And we branded it Windows Defender ATP. So for some of you who are like, oh yeah, ATP is a EDR product, about 2 years ago, yeah, that was true. Things have changed. The EDR platform and the foundation of it was built to bring everything together. All of those components that were Windows now are folded into a single integrated experience, single UI, and now we have one product very similar to the suites that you're using, CrowdStrike, Symantec, etc. And now with the release that we're about to do here in a few months, some of the gaps that you've been asking us to fill, particularly in security administration, are now there. This for us at Microsoft, this release that is about to ship is the tipping point for us. This is where we're no longer trying to fill a bunch of gaps. This is where we've got a solution that it not only competes, but it can compete to win the hearts and minds of our customers. And so this is an exciting time for us to finally have a product where we're not focused so much on gaps. And so here's a long list of all the technologies that happen over time. This is more of a reference slide. But what we want to talk about for the people who know ATP is some of the new things we're doing. We are integrating data protection into the system, and Heike will mention more about what that means. We are bringing it we're not bringing DLP into Windows Defender per se, but what we're doing is we're bringing some of that information we can get from that system into the view so security analysts can take advantage of that and make good decisions. We're bringing together MCAS integration. Again, Heike is going to show that. We've got a SecOps dashboard with lots of improvements. The big thing for me is this security admin experience. Those following along with Gartner Magic Quadrant will know that the first and most important thing for them that they've asked us to do this year is deliver a great admin experience, and that's what we've are just about to ship in just weeks to come. There's a long list of other things, but we'll get to those, so I'll just go ahead and move on to this slide, the next slide. Now, I mentioned this earlier. Windows Defender ATP is not just for Windows. It's a cross-platform solution for your heterogeneous environment. Our current approach to this is for you to work with partners to get best-in-breed support for Mac, Linux, iOS, and Android. So you can bring all of these things together into the view of the ATP console and have a centralized place to take advantage of that. We also support, of course, Windows Server, and we also support now Windows 7 SP1. Now, what we announced this week, actually we announced this some time ago, we announced support for Windows 7 for post-breach or EDR. So we announced that a while ago. The SCEP client that you can get from EMS also will now send malware-related endpoint protection information as well. So ATP isn't just the EDR solution for 7, it's the EPP and EDR solution for 7 as well. And the client, as I mentioned, will come through EMS. So we cover all of the things under one roof at this point. Now, when we think about ATP, this is how we've modeled it. This is our mental model and our approach to it. What we do is we start with attack surface reduction. This is something that's unique at Microsoft. A lot of the vendors you're working with put all of their wood for prevention behind next generation AV, which is that second pillar there. We believe that the best approach to security, or one that at least complements detection, is to reduce the total surface area of attack so that there's less detection that you have to depend on. If I can reduce the surface area from here to here, then I don't have to be 100% right on all of the malware all the time, right? And the reality is nobody can be 100%. That's impossible, right? The malware at 5 billion threats a month is you can't be 100% of the time. So attack surface reduction is something we invest in, but for those of you who are familiar with it, you know that that's hard to deploy, and we got some tools I'm going to talk about that make that type of solution more viable for more of you. Then, of course, we have next generation AV. That's something that we offer. We'll talk more about that later, but I think you know that space well. We also have endpoint detection response from an EDR perspective. We're pretty new in this space, just about 2 years, but we are definitely a leader in this space in terms of our ability to detect advanced breaches and incidents in your organization. Something that we do that's unique in this post-breach world is we automate the resolution, the remediation of these issues, and the investigation, of course. For those of you who are SecOps operators, I bet you right now you're maybe looking at your alert queue to see what your friends at work are looking at, or maybe what you need to follow up on. You know that that is a tsunami of threats and alerts that you got to deal with. With our automation, we can automate a lot of that work in the investigation and the remediation right out of your lives. So this will give you the much needed air so you can do more interesting things like hunting and the types of things you'd probably like to have time to do but do not have time for. Then, of course, we get more into the management space, and we have security posture is a very important thing. Hygiene, I think the stat we talked about earlier in the week is if you focus on hygiene, you can improve your security posture by 30 times where you're at. We all know that things like Equifax are because of bad hygiene and the lack of patches that were old but never got provisioned those systems. This is a huge plaguing problem, and we're providing tools with SecureScore to make that easier. And then, of course, we have centralized configuration management and administration. So that's how the product is organized. So let's take a closer look at it. Now, we'll start with the ASR. So why do we need ASR? Well, I kind of explained this already, but out of the box, you've got a surface area of attack that's this big, and a lot of that surface area is just ripe for exploitation, and you don't have a single app in the world in your organization that's using any of that capability. So why is it running? Why is it available for exploit? With ASR, we can reduce that, right? So that's our goal. The second thing is vulnerabilities in software code are a reality that's not going to change. Human beings write code, they write defects. We do a great job at Microsoft limiting it compared to our peers, but they're going to happen, and we need to create the condition where vulnerabilities don't matter as much, right? They always matter, but we don't want them to really matter if we can. So we have technologies to make these vulnerabilities less exploitable. We also need to constrain the devices from the wilds of unsafe locations. So we want to make sure the device cannot be phished to a malicious website that's going to try to deliver and exploit your system, deliver malware, or maybe phish your identity, et cetera. So we need to limit where the devices can go. And we also need to move to a world where the platform you're using is much like Windows S, which is very similar to iOS and Android, where they don't trust any applications unless they come from a store. It's very hard to sideload applications, very hard to get malware on those platforms, although it is possible. But that's a very successful way of approaching malware. It's better than detection, right, by magnitudes of order. We need to help you implement something like that on the desktop, and that's been very challenging in the past. So those are the things we need to do. The approaches, or those are the problems. The things we need to do is we need to use hardware isolation to isolate you from the threats, right? If you are encountering the threats and the threats can touch the system, that's a big problem. But if you encounter the threats, right, because we can't prevent you from encountering them, but you're still safe because you're isolated away from them, there's a buffer layer between the internet maybe and the device and the data in the network, that's going to give you a good end result. But that's a hard problem for a lot of us to deploy, but we'll talk about what we've done recently. Application control, which I just mentioned, is a great solution. We've made some great progress there. I'll show you the changes there. Exploit protection, dealing with vulnerabilities, network protection, and ransomware protection. These are all things in this space of ASR. So let's drill into the first one, which is related to hardware isolation. What many of you know in the audience is the challenge we face on desktops versus maybe Windows S and an iOS-like platform is the fact that the apps run with a tremendous amount of privilege. So if I'm using the browser, whether it's our browser or somebody else, and there's a vulnerability, and somebody injects code into that hole in the system, and they gain control of the browser, they're going to have an opportunity to gain control of you, right? Because that browser is running with probably your privilege, right? And if it's not your privilege, it's probably a lot of privilege. It may have privilege to at least all of the apps you're running, all your network connections, pretty much everything, right? Might not be able to install malware on the system, but they may be able to move laterally with that privilege and move off of the machine very quickly. So apps in the desktop world run with way too much privilege. Now in the mobile world, we solved that to the extent we can by putting a software sandbox, but as we've seen in the news, software sandboxes are starting to fail us, right? They failed us at CamSec West last year. Browsers with sandboxes that were software-based were failing. And we've seen iOS issues, et cetera. So we need hardware to deal with this problem. And so with Windows, we have two types of containers. We have a hardware-isolated container at the bottom for system components. You can put parts of the system, the authentication broker, which we call Credential Guard now, you can put that into a hardware-isolated container so that if the browser exploit happens and then the kernel vulnerability is exploited and the user has full access to the entire system and your network, et cetera, they at least don't have access to the NTLM hash and the Kerberos ticket that they want to use to maybe move laterally very easily. So by isolating that service, we protect the service and we protect all of its data. We have virtual TPM running in this space. We also use it to protect Windows Defender ATP defenses. Because as we've seen more recently, attackers are getting pretty good at getting high levels of privilege, and they're getting very good at tampering with system defenses. Well, if I move those defenses or I protect them using hardware isolation, I have a shot at least detecting those type of advanced attacks, and that's something that's unique to our platform. Now, that, of course, that doesn't protect the desktop. That just protects the things that I put in this area. What about the apps? Because the apps are what are getting exploited. If we put the apps in the same type of hardware container, we can create the condition where you're using Microsoft Edge as an example, and you can click on a malware and you can try to install it. And where is it installed? It's installed inside a virtual machine that's isolated by a hypervisor, where it has no ability to move to your data, to your apps, to anything that you care about. Your browser session is owned at that point. Maybe that's a bad thing, but generally that's not what attackers are going after. They want the host, they want to move laterally, and they can't do that with this solution. It's very similar to what Bromium does. If you've ever heard about Bromium, and Vincia talks about it as well, though they do it to, I think, a lesser degree than what we're doing and what you see with Bromium. But we're able to isolate Edge in that container. Now, something we announced this week, because some of you are going, wow, I really want to get to hardware isolation. I've seen Bromium, but you're only doing Microsoft Edge, and everybody in our environment uses Chrome, right? We can't put Chrome in this container yet. That's something that we anticipate doing in the future, so we're going to get there. But we don't have a solution for you yet, at least a container solution. So what we've just delivered, actually we're just about to ship it to the store, is we're providing effectively what is a redirector. Your users will be able to use Chrome as their primary browser if that's what they choose. Come to Edge, please, but they can do that if they choose. You will set policies saying these are the sites that are safe for Chrome users to use, which will be Salesforce.com and whatever sites, could be Facebook if you want. I don't know if I recommend that, but it could be whatever sites that you want your users to be able to use their preferred browser. The second they drift off of that site, they're going to move to something else, and that something else will be a browser instance of Edge inside of a hardware container that's going to protect them against that type of threat. So let me show you what that looks like. So we're going to go ahead and click on Chrome here. We're going to just quickly show you. This is a page you can get to. Your users are never going to see this. What they're going to see, of course, is their home page, which is hopefully bing.com or something like that, maybe msn.com. And they're going to go to their favorite websites that you have said those are safe enough for our users to browse. So we'd like to see Bing in there, and maybe LinkedIn and other sites that you think are safe. But the second they go to a website that's not in your trusted space, they're going to be moved into a browser instance that's hardware isolated away from the system. And if there's a vulnerability in the kernel of the container, they're still stuck in there. Malware cannot move through this browser instance to the host. You can copy and paste some text. You can print. You can do a lot of cool things. But code can't come through that. It's a barrier. And the likelihood that somebody can escape that is not possible. But it's going to feel like a promise to you compared to what you're used to today. So this is a big deal. This is how we're going to solve security. Today, Edge is in it. We have a roadmap of putting more things in it down the road. And I'm excited next year to tell you what those exact announcements will be. So application control is another great ASR technique. And so what do we do in that space? Well, actually, I got ahead of myself. The challenge with application control is you need to define what your safe app list is. Right? And who here finds that easy? Almost nobody. It's very difficult to maintain a list of these are the safe apps in our environment because most of your environments are very dynamic, and so it's just kind of a non-starter. So what have we done? Well, we added the first concept several milestones ago called Trusted Installer. Anything that you put in the image, anything that you put in SCCM or it comes to the machine through your management system, automatically added to the safe list. So that's a lot of stuff, but what about the stuff coming off the internet that's trustworthy? We added just in the last release, the intelligent security graph can be the trusted source of information. So if your user goes up to a website and they try to download a binary, let's say it's Adobe Reader, we consider that a non-malicious app. Might be used for malicious purposes, but it's not malicious by nature. We would trust that and the user can install that. So all of the web, we got that covered. So what's left to do to make this easy? Well, what about all the random stuff that's already in your environment? How do you deal with that? Let me show you. With our new Microsoft 365 Security Center experience, as part of Microsoft Threat Protection, we've added new user experiences to help you come up with the baseline of what's inside your environment. So if you look closely here, what you'll see here is you can decide what publishers are trusted. You can decide what unsigned binaries are trusted, and that's a little hard, obviously, but at least now you can discover them. And you can also designate certain file paths that are trusted as well. Once you've configured this, you will then get an idea of what's the impact if I were to implement that control. So you see, hey, based on our environment, there's 286 files that will be blocked, there's 8 devices that are impacted by these types of changes, and then we can drill down and learn a little bit more. We can then look at this set of apps that are currently being blocked by the current config, and you can say, hey, you know, I see some publishers I should add. I trust Amazon, Google, some of these other people, so you can add those to the trust list very safely, and as you do that, you'll start seeing the risk go down. You can then switch over to a report that lists the specific applications. Oops, sorry about that, I clicked ahead there. And then you can add those to the safe list as well, and then that becomes your new baseline. So once you've done this, we've identified all the apps on your file systems on the network. You've decided what's in good and bad, and now, as long as you deploy new code through your management systems, you're going to be good to go. So there's still some work to do, but I think this makes it so small, medium-sized businesses that are not compiling their own code, they can deploy this feature. This is something that they can do. Large organizations where they got developers creating a lot of random code, get them to sign the code and then add that signature to the trust list, and then it's easy. So I'm not going to say this is like a turn on a button, now app control works for everyone, but this gets you about as close as you can get, and there's some more work we're going to do to make it even easier down the road. When it comes to exploit protection, there's a broad range of functionality there. The things that we're most excited about are attack surface reduction controls. They're hard to deploy. These are controls where you literally turn off behaviors inside Windows, and what you don't know today is what applications depend on these behaviors. So we've added capabilities in our new console. So when we start from the top, we go ahead and go into secure score. We limit it by device category. We now see the types of controls that will be applicable to devices, and you see one of these rules up at the top is going to give me 50 points. Block apps from launching child processes. So that looks kind of interesting, so we can drill into that. And so what I'm seeing here now, as I'm saying, oh, my security team has already enabled that in audit mode, and they've been collecting information about what that rule would do if I were to actually turn it on. So what we're doing is we're baselining our environment. We're trying to figure out, is this going to be something that I can successfully use in my environment? So now we go to the next part of the experience. And now we can actually see what types of things would be blocked over time. There's lots of charts, and sadly we don't have time to really romance all of the capability. But if I was to look at the specific files that would be impacted by this rule, if I went from audit to enforcement mode, here's the list. And what we hope is that your organization will start recognizing some of these things. They'll recognize these as maybe trusted third parties. Maybe they'll be trusted internal apps that you have, and maybe you'll see some apps you just don't want to run. And from here, you can start adding these and say, hey, I'm going to add an exception. So we're going to turn on ASR control with enforcement, but it's going to trust this rule or this application that does this behavior that's pretty unusual, to be quite honest. And I can select all those. I can then model what the impact is in my environment if I were to turn that on. Here's another particular application. If I add that to the list, you'll see the expected impact on my environment will go down. And I can start deciding from here, do I want these other things to run or not? And if the answer is no, I can turn this thing on, and now we're going to see a huge impact in the type of security posture improvement that we experience. So ASR controls, really hard today, going to be a lot easier with this capability. We give you all the optics you need to make the good decisions. And of course, at the end, you're going to see your security score improve as a result. Network protection, don't have a lot of news here on this, except for one thing. Many of you have been saying, okay, I want to use your firewall, Chris, but your firewall admin experience is inferior. Like the GUP is really good, but the experience is inferior in terms of Intune or SCCM. We have enriched the admin experience of the firewall, which is always very capable, is now very configurable remotely, and this is no longer one of the big weaknesses we have. So our firewall is ready for prime time at the management level. It's always been good at the runtime level, but now you can actually configure and deploy this. And so with that, I think we are about to switch over to Heike. So Heike. You're right. We have one more section. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. So next generation protection. So let's talk about that. That's AV. Why do you need it? Well, because you can't reduce the surface area of attack on your systems to 0. Otherwise, nothing runs. You need something to cover that. So we need detection for the surface areas that remain. We live in this world of hyper polymorphic malware, 5 billion a month, and on and on. So there's a lot of reasons why you need it. So I don't need to belabor that too much. But let's talk about our next generation protection engine. I would love to spend an hour talking about this, but let me just net this slide out very quickly. We've completely transformed our antivirus from a signature-based, definition-based system to something that's fully indexed on machine learning. And I'm sorry, we use AI as well, although I know a lot of people kind of scoff at that. But we're using something that can scale to the enormous threat of 5 billion unique malware instances per month. We use the cloud, but not exclusively. We have local ML models that can detect malware, but your fastest response to emerging threats, and there's 7 million an hour, is you need to connect to the cloud. If you have a solution that gets an update every week or every 4 hours or every 8 hours, you're taking on tremendous risk. You need something that's connected to the cloud so you can deal with the latest WannaCry the second it comes out. And we can detect these things in milliseconds. So we have the ML models and multiple layers of defense there, and we have a world-class system. And the world-class, I think, is now can be proven with the industry tests you've been asking us to perform on. Here's how we're doing on AV tests for the last year. Exceptional scores, consistently, again and again and again. AV comparatives, even better. SE Labs. SE Labs is really interesting. Those other two tests, they test just executables primarily. SE Labs is really going after highly sophisticated malware. They're really unique. I'd watch them. We get AAA rating from them. And then maybe the most interesting of them is not a test at all. It's VirusTotal. You all know what that is. It's a giant library full of malware. We run our system against the malware that's coming into that database to see how good we are. We are 30% better than top Magic Quadrant members. That's how much faster we're detecting this. That doesn't mean they don't detect it later, but we're catching it faster, and we have the data to prove it. I wish VirusTotal published this, but this data we have access to because we have access to some web services where you can query our results like this. So we're faster than a lot of the Magic Quadrant folks. We're doing way better than one of the most important industry darlings according to Gartner and Forrester, right? So you probably know who that is. It's a visionary. We're really doing great compared to them. So we have something that you can trust for sure. We're not catching up. We have a solution that now has at least a year of treadwear. And now it's time to introduce Heike. And I'm sorry I did that early.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, Heike, my name. He introduced me. Oh, thank you. Super excited to be here in this room and have you all here. So EDR is our next category that we want to talk about. And why do we have the need for endpoint detection and response? You all know that there are still threats out there that are landing on the box. So even if we have great prevention, you need to have a post-breach mindset and be able to detect attacks that made it past all those defenses. I have a few stats out there. You can read them. But if you turn on EDR, you will be able to detect the attacks that are happening on your network or threats. Doesn't need to be a big data breach. You get the insights, you get the tools that you need to investigate and analyze, and then, of course, respond appropriately. So if you look at Windows Defender ATP EDR capabilities, there is a deeply built into the operating system sensor that is looking after all kinds of events that are happening on the box and sends them to the cloud. And in the cloud is all the magic happening, machine learning, analytics to actually spot threats that made it past the defenses. It's all behavioral based, of course, so we analyze all these individual events. Unique is we have deep kernel and in-memory detection capabilities. So we know that others have this as well, but we built Windows, so we have actually a unique capability here to really look without blue screening once there's a new operating system coming or a new OS update. So I would like to go into a demo now. Let's switch to 6. So for the people that haven't seen Windows Defender ATP, our Windows Defender Security Center yet, so this is the dashboard that a security analyst would usually use to start investigating a specific alert, a threat that got raised. Of course, we have SIEM integration API, so you can get all the alerts into your SIEM, but then from there, you go back into our console and start your investigation. So I would like to show a few things and then, of course, go into the new capabilities. So one thing is here, the richness of the data that we collect. So it's everything, as I mentioned, like all the little, like everything that happens on a box. Process creation, file creation, network connection, all these things, and this is all the events that from Chris's components, or the other components, sorry, application control, for instance, or hardware-based isolation. So you have this thing happening in your edge session, but we are part of the container, so that means we will show you all the things that happen in the container, even though the attack is afterwards wiped away when you close the session. So this is a machine timeline. You can see all the different information here. One thing, the richness of the data. I mean, we can't surface everything in one UI. That's why we also have advanced hunting. I will go into this in a little moment, but we can show you here the entire process tree of this specific alert. All little events, they also have additional information. For instance, here we see that an access token got modified. If you click on it, we show you what was the access level before, what was modified, and all the additional privileges that got added to this specific process. So just from a richness perspective. And then another thing that I would like to show is the first integration that we started with Microsoft Threat Protection was with Office 365 ATP. So we are on the endpoint, right? So we look at all the things that are happening on the endpoint, but then there's Office 365 ATP, and they know what's happening in mailboxes. So if a user receives something via email, an attachment, and saves this attachment to disk, we know about the attachment because it got saved to disk, or even if the user opens it out of Outlook, it will create a temp file in the temp folder, and this is something we look at it. But then, if you want to know who was the sender of this email, and what was the subject of this email, where this attachment came out from, we can ask Office 365 ATP, and that's another thing that I would like to show you quickly how this looks like. And it's a toggle, it's a switch, so it's not a big deployment of integrating those solutions together. It's a switch, turn on Office 365 integration, and then it's done. So let me go back to Jackson's machine and go down in the time where this happened. And I expand this event. And this information for request for approval, the last what is it? The last part of this tree, you can see request for approval, request for proposal. You can see the northwindtraders.com sender, the subject, like everything. And this is information that comes out right of Office 365 ATP. So you don't have to go there to learn more. But if, because now you're interested in like, I can see that there are like additional recipient on this email. I want to know what happened to those mailboxes. So you can click on Office 365 ATP here, learn more, and then it will redirect you to Office 365 Threat Explorer. It will show you all the other recipient, and because we also exchange signals and detections with Office 365 ATP, it will block this file right away, because from an attack history in my demo, this was a malicious attachment that got through them. So those are the things that I wanted to show about the timeline and the integration. One thing that's to mention, you can keep your data in your own tenant for up to 6 months. This is a lot of data that we store for you in our backend, and you can go back in time. So even if the machine got re-imaged, is not available anymore, but you discover something after the fact, you can still go back and understand what happened at this time. So I mentioned we have a lot of data, and there are like people that want to hunt across this data. This is why we introduced advanced hunting. You can use, they say all the time, a simple query language. I'm not a coder, so for me, it's not as simple, but it auto-corrects me when I try to type something that the language doesn't know. So it's kind of simple, and there's also a GitHub repository, the community that works together to create nice new queries. So you create them. I just use one here. I can run them, and within seconds, it runs across all the data that we have from you in the cloud and gives you the results. A new thing that is coming now is scheduled. So that means you can save the query. You could do this before, but now you can actually get alerted based on your own threat intelligence. So you say, if I see another one connecting with this IP address or whatever, please raise an alert, and you specify the severity of the alert. And then coming in the future is also based on your TI, you can immediately do response action, because if there is someone connecting to the IP, you don't want this, you can block the IP and so on. So this is now coming with the next October 2018 update. So something that we introduced as well, and I don't know if you have seen it, in Rob Lefferts' general session, is a new concept that's an incident. So originally we had this alert queue. We still have it, which has a lot of alerts, and you have to go through these alerts. But what we do now is we actually create an incident and include all the entities that are related to this specific incident. So all the alerts, all the machines, all the users, everything, so that it makes it easier for you to understand the bigger picture of this specific issue that you have on your network. So here, for instance, I can see it was a weaponized document. I have a bunch of alerts that are all related to the specific incident. I see all the machines. If it's across multiple machines, of course, I see more. An investigation that is currently running, and it's a demo, so we stopped it, so otherwise this thing would be gone already. So I will talk about automation in a moment, but it will automatically start an investigation and start remediating the individual threats. So, and then some people like it, some don't. I love this thing. I could just like play around all day long. It's a graph. I'm not opening it now because I have more things to do, but it shows you all the connections between the entities to better understand, again, visually your incident. So with that, I'm going quickly and switch back to the slides, because for the ones that were attending Rob Lefferts' session, you might think, I have seen the incident also in a little bit different way. Exactly, because we have a vision, and the vision is becoming true shortly, which is the incident across our MTP, a Microsoft Threat Protection, so across Azure, Office, and Windows. So we will bring together the alerts that are coming from Office, is related to the same incident, the alerts that are coming from Azure ATP, all together into one single incident. And it's a very nice visually. You see these little timeline dots. You can click on them to understand what happened exactly at this one, what kind of alerts were raised. You can see what action have been taken at this specific time. You can then drill down into specific alerts. For instance, here, PowerShell. If you click on it, you get all the details related to this specific event in this nice side panel. It shows you the affected machines and affected identities. The same is true for if you go on an alert. It comes, in this case, from Azure ATP. It gives you the information, what's happening, and I can see that there is a remediation in progress. You can then go and go to the devices, you can go to the entities, but also then if you go into the investigation, it shows you kind of the entire stage end-to-end where the threat started until it got fully remediated in all the different stages that we are doing. The first thing that needs to be done is you have to remediate or like isolate the threat. So you don't want the threat to spread around, contain it. That means in a case where a user entity got compromised, you probably want to either enforce MFA or password reset or these kind of actions. So this is the first part that we want to do. And then, of course, we go through the individual alerts. We look at all the individual threats and items that need to be remediated, and then in the end, the good story is everything has been remediated, and you get all the individual information, what has been done for this specific alert, and so on. I will dive into automation a little bit further in a moment. So, but this is something that's coming shortly for our 365 threat protection. So that was what I wanted to present for endpoint detection and response. Let's move over to automation. I had a little bit in there already, but our auto investigation, why is it needed? We all know that resources are expensive, cyber security analysts are expensive. Everybody can just work on a certain amount of alerts a day, and also the quality, you get tired, you need to go and have lunch and all of this. Automation doesn't need to do all of this. Automation can just keep working. And especially, I mean, we are not reducing, you still need your cybersecurity analysts for all the cases that really need this expertise. But there are many little things. My most loved example is, you see that antivirus remediated successfully or identified and remediated Mimikatz. That's great, it's gone. But you want to know, have credentials been exfiltrated? Why did it land there in the first place and all of this? So you can't go after every single positive alert, like informational yoo-hoo, something got remediated, but you still want to dig deeper into some of those cases. So you turn on automation. We have it in 2 flavors, semi-automated or fully automated. Semi-automated means you have to approve before we remediate. We present you what we discovered, what we learned, what we want to do, and then you say, yeah, go do it for me. We have automation already available since 1803, and now with 1809, we will add automation for in-memory investigations as well. So for the people that are testing or evaluating or using Windows Defender ATP, you might have seen that some of the alerts were saying, sorry, it's not applicable for automation, so you will continuously see us adding more capabilities here. So what it is we have on the endpoint, again, sensors that are responsible for collecting forensic, which is not all the time needed because we have all the data in the cloud already. But sometimes you want to grab something and analyze it on the endpoint, and then, of course, it will reach out and trigger the collector. And then it will also orchestrate response action on the endpoint through the cloud. Good, so let's go and have a look at a demo. Which one? So it's loading. So this is another nice example. It's like, oh, a suspicious WMI execution has been detected. Okay, but it can be very dangerous. I mean, you can navigate to a different machine, you can exfiltrate data, you can do really nasty thing with WMI. So if I look at, I need to make this a little smaller first. So if you look at the summary of our investigation, it spanned 2 machines, yes, because I had one machine where WMI was executed to another machine. So that means our automated investigation has to investigate the source machine and the targeted machine. This is what you see on the machines. And then imagine how much time you would need to analyze, what is it, 7,551, I forgot the number, but you see, it's a really, really high number of all the little entities that have been analyzed, which is processes, services, IP addresses, registry keys, everything that was running and everything that was connected to this specific time, an hour before, an hour after. And our logic, every time we find something new, imagine there's a file. We look at the file. The file tells us, oh yes, I got downloaded from this IP. So now we go and investigate this IP. From this IP, we learn, hey, there were more files downloaded from this IP on other machines. Now so everything that is what this is related to this one little thing that we find spins up another process to really make sure that this thing is gone and is not coming back on your network. So everything happened, and it took a long time, but it only took a very long time because we were waiting for an analyst to approve the remediation. It's a demo, but our customers, they also first want to gain trust, right? So they put everything on semi-automated, I'm not trusting you, and then after a while they create a group of machines, put more machines in there, they're fully automated, and then they switch off, and they will still have a few machines in only semi-automated. If I look at all the entities, you can see them here, we don't hide anything. We also show you everything that the remediation system did. Everything has been logged, you can look at it. And in the future, like in a couple of weeks, there's also an auto-resolve for the alerts after they have been remediated. This hasn't been implemented yet, but once it's remediated, the alert is gone and you don't even see it in your alert queue anymore. So, automation. So let's go to the next slide. Let's talk about security posture. So why is it needed? Chris showed already a nice UI of how you can configure attack surface reduction. It's still complicated, I think, and there's not enough guidance yet to really configure all the individual controls that are available that make your security or like your operating system more secure. Sometimes you don't even know that they exist. Sometimes we have customers, they tell a different team, like the security team tells the IT team or the sec admin team or an ops team, this is what we want you to implement, and they say, we have done this. And they never get something back. So now you give visibility to a broader group of security-related people. And also, you need, if you want to configure something, if you want to get better, some kind of prioritization. We can't tell you, oh, fix this, and it's the last problem that you actually have. So prioritization, and if you turn on security posture, then boom, everything is gone, the life is better. So let's have a look at our security posture here. So when I saw this the first time when the team showed it to me, I was so amazed. I loved it because it was the first time that we tell our customers, this is what you can do with those individual controls. So because everybody knows, oh yeah, I can turn on next-gen protection, antivirus, tuck. But there are like 12 or 15, I don't know, additional configuration options to make it better. And they're not turned on by default. Now they're more and more getting turned on by default, but when we did this in the past, and it switched off the entire thing. So we need to give you guidance and explain to you why you need these individual configurations. So, and this is also a nice CISO tool showing where the money gets invested. Okay, I'm getting more and more secure because I'm investing time, I configure the individual components, and to make it better and better. So you can see the trend. I can see the trend here, for instance, for OS updates. It's really going down. This is normal for our demo environment because at some point the machines are not being taken care of anymore and then the updates goes down. But this is a case that I discussed with my colleague yesterday. A customer got hit with WannaCry, a couple of machines. And then they reached out to IT, and it's like, no, we fixed it. KB has been deployed a long time ago. But you can go into it, drill deeper, and understand that it hasn't been. So why? So here you can only see all the individual machines that need some attention. But we also have, and I need to go to this portal here, which is a Power BI dashboard. It shows you exactly all the KBs that should be deployed on your environment. If you have multiple domains, this green box usually then there are more boxes because every box is a domain, so you can see who is better and who is worse. You can click on all these little things, and I already selected something here. You can see all the machines that needed action at a specific month. You can see all the individual operating systems, which build it is. You can search for a CVE, you can search for a threat, and of course, it filters it, and then you can see WannaCry, and then these 4 machines came back because there was a configuration issue. But it gives you visibility. So security score is one thing, and Power BI to then actually grab those information and make them use of it, how you need it, is another. Something that we introduced a little while ago is threat analytics. But what we originally only had was a Spectre and Meltdown report, which was really needed at this time. And as you can see, I was scrolling through it, and I will go up again later, are more and more threats. It's really critical, sophisticated threats where our customers are targeted by right now. So Spectre and Meltdown was a very specific case. You had to get a microchip update, and it was not needed when you had this, and sometimes it was needed here, and then there was an S update, but it was complicated. So I don't think that anyone at a company did the math and had a list of where is it needed and where not. So we did this for you. So the threat analytics shows you your threat to posture view. So I see a threat, and I see how I am exposed to this specific threat and how many machines still need mitigation. And what we added now is we also tell you how many machines have an alert based on, because of the mitigation has not been, or like is not mitigated yet on the specific machine. So because the specific CVE or like KB is not installed, or other mitigations have been enabled. I love this example here. So our team works on all the threat intel. I mean, those are real hunters, hunting around and understanding the threat landscape and hacking machines and doing all these crazy things. A lot of experts that come together to write you a full report of what is this thing doing, what are their techniques, what are they using, and they also tell you what you need to do to be resistant. So, and in this case, you have to do a little bit more than just a switch. So there is, okay, you have to do something in Office 365, you have to do something on the box. So if you have a guidance on actually how you can be mitigate the threat, it's very, very important. So, and this is threat analytics. I think that's done. And now I'm handing actually back to Chris for a moment for security management.
All right, thank you, Heike.
Thank you.
All right, that was great. So for those of you who have been following along the journey of ATP, I think what we've shown you so far shows just tremendous progress. The velocity of what we're doing is huge. But there's one thing that's left that represents a gap for the security administrators out there. And so that was one of the big focuses amongst many for this next release, is that security management experience needs to be enriched with dashboards that give you trends and threat monitoring, report monitoring, etc., and also configuration management. So let's take a quick look at some of these dashboards that you're going to get. So something we haven't spent too much time on is the 365 Security Center console and kind of what it was. We've shown you a lot of screenshots, but let me give you a little more context. Regardless of, well, depending on which products you use, Windows Defender ATP, Azure ATP, CASB, etc., the more products you buy, the more experiences are going to show up in this console framework. So if you're only a Windows E5 customer, you get this console as well. All of the security experiences show up here. But if you got CASB, then it shows up as well. And so that's how this console is. It's a framework that, depending on how much of our product set you use, it gets further enriched, etc. The console here is driven to drive action. When you wake up in the morning as a security administrator, we want you to come to this dashboard and say, what do I got to go do? And so you can arrange these what we call cards any way you want. We have many more cards than you can see here, but this is, I think, a layout that a lot of you would appreciate. Hey, how can I improve my security score? What about compliance? We got a card there. What are the types of threats we're facing? And these types of things. So we want to drive quick action there. We also want to provide you this thing that we call at the bottom basics. So we also want to help you become a better security administrator, or at least the ones more knowledgeable about our products. So we're going to give you access to information that'll help you take advantage of more things or new things that we've delivered recently. So this is also a center to find out what's been added. And now that we're in the services world, you're going, as a SecApp admin, going to see new content shipping not every 6 months necessarily. We might ship new content every couple weeks. You know, sometimes there'll be bigger drops than others, but this is not something that's on these big 6-month waves or multi-year waves. Now, when it comes to experiences within this, I know these are difficult to read. That's not the point I'm trying to make with this slide. What I'm trying to make the point of is, rather than dividing all of these experiences based on Windows Defender ATP and this ATP and CASB and all these other things. What do you really care about? You care about the entities that we showed at the very beginning. You care about the apps, the devices, the data, the infrastructure, these types of things. So the console gives specific experiences for all these types of things. So we have a data center tab for infrastructure. For devices, that's kind of the Windows Defender space. You're going to see experiences there. So you get the reports and the monitoring that you experience, or that you need across all of these entities. In addition to some of the entity-based things, you're also going to see more analytical types of things. If there's a global outbreak that's happening, if your CISO called after they read New York Times and WannaCry v2 is coming out and they're asking you about that, you're going to be able to come out here and you're going to be able to find out. And they're going to be able to switch to threat analytics, which IK showed. You're going to find out how exposed you are. In a couple minutes, you're going to report back to CISO, here's what we need to go do. Here's how exposed we are. That's something that's a little hard to do today, and a lot of the products are out there. But these console experiences are driven to be able to answer that 5 a.m. call from the CISO. Are we impacted? Is it happening to us? You'll have that data at your fingertips. They will be accessible here. So think of a lot of the things in the Azure portal. Towards the end? Sure. We'll take questions at the end. But think of this as a consolidated experience across the many portals you're using today. This is us bringing a unified view rather than separate consoles. When it comes to threat reports, let's drill in a little deeper here. When it comes to threats, a lot of these things are the types of things that you guys have asked us based on our experiences with SEP, Symantec, or McAfee, et cetera. We took an aggregate view of all the requests you had and tried to build the reports that you want. Now, if we go and look at McAfee and some other products, they got this really large list of reports, many of which you don't use. And so we've really prioritized these reports to be the ones that really drive action. And that's not to say that we didn't deliver a rich set of reports. That's not at all the case. But what I'm trying to say here is there's a lot of random reports and a lot of products you're using that just nobody cares about. We've really focused on ones that are going to drive action and results for the security administrators so they can do their job better. We'll give you the types of threats you're facing based on the type they are, the types of actions we've been taking. Like you see here on the right, we've blocked some malware, we've removed, we've cleaned, we've allowed some things to run, quarantine, all these types of things. You're going to be able to see your day-to-day progress all on an ongoing basis. You'll be able to compare yesterday's alerts versus today's alerts, so you can find out what types of things are happening from a malware perspective or from a post-breach perspective, all in one space, and on and on. So we have all these great reports. You can drill down deeper, get more information, and also gain insights on how maybe tomorrow you could be better prepared against the alerts that maybe you'll face then. And then, of course, we have health reports, so you can determine how healthy your machines are. So are they communicating with the system, right? We all know that keeping systems communicating with the security thing is non-trivial, right? Now, it's pretty good with us, but there are going to be systems that their communication stops. And so we're going to make sure you can make sure that every single PC is as healthy as it can be in terms of its ability to communicate with the security system that you're going to depend on. We'll also slice and dice alerts based on operating system views, so you can start making decisions about, like, hey, maybe it's time to move to a new version or a newer version of Windows because we're seeing a lot more incidents on one. And when we can see a lot more incidents, probably Windows 7, right? Windows 10, these reports actually show a significant upgrade, although not in this particular example, but that's what you would see in your environment. We slice it by OS version, releases, on and on. So a lot of these reports that security administrator has never had in our system are now here, and we really feel that this is the moment where we have a product that has all of the boxes checked. We're starting to get rich within a number of them, and we don't have this one Gartner gap that a lot of people ask about. We now have that in spades. And so with that, we're going to talk about, in the time we have left, some cross-product scenarios, because when you bring Windows Defender ATP and Azure ATP together and Intune, you get some amazing experiences. Thank you.
Oh, that's for him, right? No. So let's talk a little bit about the cross-product scenarios, or let's call them end-to-end scenarios with Microsoft Threat Protection. So what we started, I told you the journey was we are sharing our signals through the intelligent security graph from Office to Azure, Windows, back and forth. And we already enable investigation between the products seamlessly, so you don't have to switch. Still today, there are different consoles, but as you see, we are working on it. But there is a seamless connection, so you don't lose context when you want to learn more about the user or the email or whatever it is. And we announced this week as well that Office 365 ATP can now, for instance, trigger investigation and remediation action on an endpoint. If you want to learn more about it, there was a theater session yesterday, and there's a deep dive on this tomorrow, on Thursday, and Raviv and Girish will talk about the integration that comes with Office and Windows Defender ATP and other Microsoft Threat Protection technologies a little bit deeper. And then this is the single console that we announced, which is for the SecOps now. So Chris showed the SecAdmin experience. So we also bring everything together for a SecOps. All the alerts, there will be, as I mentioned, incidents. They will share information. And then we already went into the incident, so I'm letting that, leaving this now. And conditional access was a scenario that we implemented or made available also a couple of months ago. Everybody might use conditional access already today, I hope so, but there was no indicator if there was actually a threat on the machine. You could say, okay, I want my device to be good configured, an AV needs to run, the latest OS updates have to be installed, but what if malware was running on the device? You let it still connect to your corporate resources. So now with Windows Defender ATP, we give a dynamic risk level to Intune to ways then the status turns not compliant if the risk level is high or medium and you can configure it. And then, of course, we have our automation kicking in, investigating the threat, remediating the threat, now setting the the alert back to resolved, and then the risk level gets reduced to 0, and then the user can again access corporate resources. So this is the conditional access scenario. Another one, and this is the one that will be explained a little bit, not the same case, but a similar Office integration. So imagine an attacker sends a phishing email, and it's like at the moment when it gets analyzed, it's kittensacute.com, and it's a good link destination. But then after a while, the attacker actually arms the URL by redirecting it to hackers.com. So Office 365 ATP will now send an alert to Windows Defender ATP to ensure that where the email lands on the endpoint, that nothing happened on the endpoint, and clean if something happened. So those are the kind of integration that we are looking at. So that we have a little bit of time for Q&A, because I know that everybody, at least I'm hungry. I didn't eat before the session, before you all run out. I'm closing, and before, please give us a second. Who is evaluating, who is using, or who trialed Windows Defender ATP? So can now everybody raise their hand and say, you go please and sign up for a trial if you haven't used, evaluated Windows Defender ATP? All the hands that weren't there before? Okay, I'm happy. Good. So aka.ms/WDATP is where you can sign up for a trial. You can onboard as many machines as you want. For, I think, 2 months is the trial. And test it, try it out, and then come back and start loving it, as many of our customers. We have a few more sessions that are happening if you want to take a quick picture, because I have some other mandatory slides that I have go through. Otherwise, I would leave them. So go and hunt for some stickers, or go into the expo hall, talk to our experts at the booth. And then there's also a fast track program for M365, where we have our partners help you analyze your system, help you deploy, and then, of course, also start using the individual technologies. And there are tons of sessions for the fast track program. Told you there are coming a few slides. Thanks for staying with us. Picture, and with that, please evaluate the session, tell us what you liked, what you didn't like. And Chris, maybe you want to just come and say with me together goodbye and thanks. Thank you. And if you have questions, the mic is open for another 6 minutes, and then afterwards we come, of course, and answer other questions, please.
Earlier, the application control you showed, is there a path from AppLocker to that?
Okay, so the question is there a path from AppLocker, which is our kind of our legacy application control solution, to our ATP application control?
Yes.
There is not right now. Now, what we're doing is we're working on integrating them so they become one. There's still a few things in ATP's application control that are exclusive to AppLocker, but our goal is to bring them together. So the answer should be yes. We're still engineering the outcome, but that's something we're talking about, just doing that. So we can bring you over to the full thing and then give you the advantages.
So as an AppLocker user right now, we should maybe just hold off and wait until you build that bridge that you're working on?
What I would say is, if you're not using AppLocker today, you should never start using it, right? Because it's the legacy.
No, we've been using it for a long time.
So. Yeah, so for those of you who are using AppLocker, I would continue using it, because I think in the next 6 months, 12 months, we will carry you over to the modern world with the new solution. Yeah, thank you. Great question.
We've been using ATP for a while. We're running it on servers, we're running it on clients. We have different administrative groups, and we don't want to grant the same level of access to the people who are administering our desktops as the people that are administering our servers. We've been asking for additional role-based access control within those UIs. Now that we're switching to a new portal, it looked like that wasn't addressed at all, or maybe just wasn't talked about here.
No. So Raviv he wants to answer, but you need a mic. Offline? Okay, so in general, of course, we have RBAC and we have more granular control and we add more and more, but the portal will totally respect RBAC that's coming, that you configured in Azure AD.
Well, we haven't configured anything because there wasn't the ability to configure that.
So it's available.
It's added.
It exists today?
Yeah.
And now we can delegate saying, here are our desktop systems, these users can do it? And what portal is that in, just so you know which one to go to?
Settings.
Show it, yeah. There it is.
Okay, next. Yeah. Thank you. Next
so RBAC is in, yes.
So there was a slide that you presented, Chris, and it mentioned the words discovery of sensitive data, and you mentioned that Defender ATP does not have a full-blown DLP capability on that slide.
Yeah.
Now, this week, there's the release of the unified labeling, and we've noticed that new DLP option for sensitivity labels. And then there is a enable Windows endpoint protection brackets DLP for devices option. Does that tie into Windows Defender ATP in some way?
Yes.
Okay.
So Windows Defender ATP will, first of all, detect sensitive or labeled information on a device. We'll share this information back with Microsoft Information Protection, as well as working on right now enforce WIP protection on the device. So there's more coming.
Okay, so there is a kind of label-driven endpoint DLP capability, effectively. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the key benefits is the fact that as a security operator is looking at an incident, that they can see, I see that there's sensitive information on the system. So that's like the primary integration.
Yes. Once is visibility, as he said, so we prioritize for you your alerts if an alert is related to a machine that has sensitive information on it. But today, there is no enforcement if labeled or sensitive data is on a store to actually protect it. So Windows Defender ATP will instruct protection technologies from Microsoft to now protect the files that are coming down on a device if they are sensitive.
Okay, so one more quick, very much related question then. So which bits of that are available now? Because I know I've seen in the documentation that the MIP labels are GA, but is that Defender integration?
No.
No, okay.
No.
So is it rolling out to tenants now, or?
I think it will start out rolling in public preview coming in a couple of weeks.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
Perfect.
Appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Great session. Really good session.
Thank you. Evaluation. Okay. I love that.
You mentioned that the console lights up depending on which solutions you own.
Yeah.
Correct.
For customers that are just using Windows Defender, not ATP yet, but just Defender, is this the new management solution from SCCM to give them a bridge to just managing Windows Defender, AV?
You will get a very limited view, yes. So if you're using Intune and SCCM along with these, what a lot of people refer to as a SCEP client, that information, and you'll get a very, I think there's 1 or 2 cards, I don't remember recall, so it's very limited. When you go to ATP, you get reporting and you get all this richness, but you will get something that puts you on relative parity with what you have, except it'll be in this new console experience, if that makes sense. So it sounds like you're using SCEP. Is that what you're using? So Windows Defender antivirus and
customers that are using
Intune.
SCCM, they want to move to Intune, but the
So
reporting is not anywhere near the same.
this is reporting, right? So what you have in SCCM today, what you have in Intune will now be consolidated in this nice new look and feel. Configuration would still be SCCM and Intune. We're not building a separate new configuration, but we make it easy. We tell you, hey, this is missing, configure it, and you will land where you need to be in Intune to actually configure this control. So we're not building another configuration tool, but making it easier for you to see the reports that are somewhere in Intune and not really in SCCM.
Yeah, that's what they
But the
want.
key thing is
Reporting.
we're not enriching the reports at the level you're at. If you want the broad set of reports that I showed, that comes only with ATP. So you'll have relative parity with what you have today, except it's going to look nicer in this new experience.
Good, thank you.
Thank you for the best session today.
Ooh, thank you. I want to see this on the on the board later. We have a speaker board. Thank you.
When we have alerts at the console, we say pass the hash, pass the ticket. On the right side, you got 3 buttons, open, closed, resolved, but nothing where you put some information in. What was the reason? What was the action? So you just close it and nobody knows. Is there coming something?
Honestly, I don't know. So we added a little bit of a kind of an alert management. Most of our customers, but I love the feedback that we need more, they have a ticketing system. They have a solution where they actually see the alerts, handle the alerts, and then they don't even close or assign the alerts in Windows Defender ATP. Some customers start doing it more. We are working on integration with ticketing systems, for instance, to make this process easier. But Raviv, feedback was, you have alerts that are active, resolved, or closed, but there's a missing function of why, what happened, some kind of
You're not able to put some information. The admin is not able to put information in. No? Is it came new?
Let's resolve some alerts. I can, somewhere else. So at least I can.
There it is at the bottom, yeah.
Oh, down below.
Yeah.
But by pass the hash and pass the ticket by ATA, there was no.
Okay, so this is a different console from the ATA console. We are working on migrating them all to a single.
Okay.
From the endpoint console, there's the way the comment, and the comment will persist. So next one will come in, we'll see that you touched it, and
Usually we
Okay,
clean all the
thank you.
persistence, but some persistence is still there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. See, I learned something. I didn't never scroll down that far.
So this might have been answered by the earlier gentleman. Go ahead.
one comment, if you have any problem ever with this thing, there's a smiley button at the top. You click the smiley.
And he gets an email.
Yes. You fill in what the problem is, and it sends an email to me, and then somebody will come back to fix it.
So he is the guy behind the smiley, or the frown, both.
So this might have been answered already, but just to clarify, with it being like an endpoint management, is it more like for reporting specifically, or is it going to be a way for you to either like push out like security baselines or settings for Windows Defender on that endpoint, or is it purely just to see the reports that are coming from that client?
So our idea is, our current thinking is, you have different roles, right? So we have SecOps, we have SecAdmin, sometimes we have IT admin, where the SecAdmin tells whatever. So our idea is that we create a policy in Intune that is not deployed so it's a suggestion from the SecOps team to the person that is responsible for applying the policies, and then they click on yes, roll it out or not. So this is the idea. We are not working on making a new config, but easy integration, and then of course in Intune as well, centralized. So you will have a Windows Defender ATP policy. Today we started, so you have your endpoint security, but some controls are still not part of it. But you will see that they will fly in shortly, and then you have Windows Defender ATP configuration. You get a baseline setting that we recommend you. You push it down. So this is what we are working on.
Okay, and then that Microsoft Security Center, when is that going to be rolled out?
That's in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And then it will just be enriched
Yeah.
kind of continuously, new cards, etc.
Everybody's building APIs.
So I have a question here.
Oh, hello.
Oh, there's people over there.
Sorry.
Yes, there you are.
So I like the idea about this consolidation of all the dashboards that we used to have. My question is, how is this related to the OMS, the Microsoft Operation Management Suite, where we have a lot of things also for the Windows endpoints and the clients and the antivirus and the security events, and how all these relate together with OMS?
So OMS is being used for Windows Defender ATP to onboard Windows 7, right?
No, that's...
No, but I mean just like Azure, like we don't have any integration beside Azure Security Center when it's server which integrates there.
It's a full suite with a lot of security.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a good
It's probably
answer right now,
probably the Azure Security Center that might want to answer your question. So we have no today.
Yeah, and Azure's hosted in this console here, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thanks.
But thanks for waiting till you were able to ask. Thanks.
Yeah, so so first comment is that I think you're definitely headed in the right direction, finally putting everything kind of together. So that a lot of people wanted to see that. That's great. My question is around actually Windows Defender, right? The one problem that I have with it, or I see, and maybe you could educate me a little more, is that a lot of what you're doing in terms of detection is all reactionary, right? I'm wondering if you're looking at anything going forward, more of an AI engine, i.e. a Silence, i.e. CrowdStrike. Those are those type of tools that are not so reactionary, but they're using AI algorithms in order to detect actual threats. Because a lot of the times reactionary, it's too late. It's too late. Thousands of machines are gone. It's too late.
Yeah. So we are not reactionary. We are fundamentally the same in terms of our approach. We're all using ML or AI or both to solve this problem. We're actually outperforming CrowdStrike and others.
Right. Silence.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think this is really just a perception problem.
So you have an AI engine?
Of course. I mean, in fact, we used to be signatures, and then we called them definitions, which are smarter, more dynamic signatures, and now we're 100%.
And that AI engine is running locally, so if I disconnect that machine from the network, it's going to detect new threats without AV updates?
Absolutely, and that's the whole nature of machine learning and AI, is that we're able to identify similarities based on what the model can identify. Those models get enriched in the cloud as fast as we can. We enrich the client with new data on I can't remember what the hourly basis is, 3 hours or 4 hours. So we do that, which is very different. You said you're using Silence. Silence, I don't know what their update rate is, but if they're updating their machine learning models every day or I think it's multiple days, isn't it? It's every month.
No,
if it's not every second.
But that's not true. No, they're updating their models. Gosh, I haven't gotten one in close to a year.
Move off here. Yeah.
Thank goodness. Because you know what updating a model means, right? If you have over 100,000 endpoints, do you know what upgrading a model means in terms of false positives and re-going through all your software to either whitelist or not? It's a huge issue.
Wow. Well, so we have we got to wrap because the next speaker's coming on.
Yeah, we can.
We have a system that is
just mics up.
equivalent of anything, and we're actually outperforming them on things like AV test and others. So we should talk some more if you have any more questions. Thank you.